to the Optimal Movement series. Last time we built our foundation with the foot tripod, and your comments were incredible. So many of you felt that instant improvement in stability. I got a lot of notes back that was something that a lot of people hadn't been told before. It was something that they had never really had articulated to them, and it made a lot of sense. And they did notice that to hold that tripod position once they got their foot there, it was difficult in a lot of different ways. They felt muscles working that hadn't really worked. They felt strain in other areas. They felt, I hate this word, but they felt activation. They felt recruitment in other areas. And that was some information they wanted to build on. So we're going to build on it. All right, so on top of all of the information, the feedback that I got back about it, a lot of you also asked a deeper question, which was, I can find my tripod standing still, but why does everything fall apart when I move? And many of you dealing with knee pain are probably wondering where the knee fits into that dynamic. Today we're tackling one of the biggest myths in movements, that your knee pain is a knee problem. Truth is, your knee is often just the messenger, and we're about to trace the message back to its actual source. A lot of rehab out there treats the knee like a simple hinge, like your elbow, which is a very solid, very supported, very stable hinge. But that is a dangerous oversimplification because your knee is not a stable hinge. While it primarily bends and straightens, that's its primary job, your knee also has subtle but critical rotational capacities. Now, that is not a design flaw, that is crucial to athletic performance. It's actually, we would consider it a feature of the knee. If you were selling a knee joint to an alien, this rotational feature of the knee joint would actually be something that you would say, hey, the knee also does this. The rotation allows us to adapt to uneven ground and absorb complex forces. But this sophistication comes with a cost because it's not a locked hinge. It is highly susceptible to forces from above and below, particularly when those forces are not one directional. They are coming from all different directions. If you think your quads, you think your adductors, you think your abductors, you think rotational muscles, you think your foot flexors, all of those kind of go into influence the knee and its behavior. And when you consider that, all of a sudden now there are a lot of different factors that affect how the knee primarily bends back and forth. So let's think of the knee as being caught between two extremely powerful influencers, your hip from above and then your foot from below. When they're in a balanced argument, the knee is happy. It does everything that it's supposed to do at the time it's supposed to do it and at the rate that it's supposed to do it. But when one gets too forceful or too lazy, the knee gets twisted, sometimes literally, and that's when pain and dysfunction show up. So let's start from the ground up. Remember our tripod? A stable foot creates a stable tibia or shin bone, but watch what happens. If my arch collapses and my foot excessively pronates, it doesn't stop at the ankle. The tibia internally rotates. And what must the knee do to accommodate it? It collapses inward into valgus, which is what you'll see when you see someone who is knock-kneed or their knees collapse during, say, a squat. Now, this movement isn't just passive. Muscles like the Flexor Hallucis Longus, a deep muscle that controls your big toe and wraps around your ankle, directly influences this tibial rotation. So foot stability isn't just about bones, it's about the muscular control that governs the entire segment. Now, let's look from the top down. This is your gluteus medius. Its job is to keep your pelvis level when you're on one leg. This is very active during gait. Since we are bipedal animals, meaning we walk on two legs, we have to have a lot of stability right to left as we step. We're going to talk about gait in a later video and how complex that is. But because of that, your glute medius is a very strong stabilizer of the pelvis joint from balancing one leg to the other during gait, like running and walking. Now, when the gluteus medius is weak, the pelvis drops on the opposite side. To compensate, the femur, your thigh bone, has to rotate inward. And once again, the knee is forced to follow that femur into valgus position. So you'll see how a weak gluteus medius or a poorly recruited gluteus medius or an over-recruited, we'll just say other muscle, we can get into specifics later, you can see how that relationship would affect how the knee functions and then also affects your foot's relationship to the ground. So, is it the foot's fault or the hip's fault? It's the loss of the balanced argument between them. Your knee is the site where dysfunctional movement patterns from the foot and the hip converge. The pain shows up there, but the breakdown happened and or started somewhere else. This is actually good news. It means your knee isn't necessarily damaged goods. There's not necessarily something wrong with the knee joint. This is just where the pain is presenting itself. It means we have multiple levers to pull at the foot and the hip to change the forces going through the knee to resolve the pain, hopefully for good. So let's integrate this. This is going to be an example that doesn't necessarily fix anything, but does give you a good viewpoint and a good action to see how the hip, the foot, and the knee kind of work together and how external forces can really influence the behavior of the knee. So let's give this a try. We're going to use a banded glute bridge to show you this idea, and we're going to show critical focus on the foot. We're going to simultaneously cue the hip stabilizers and reinforce the foot tripod. So one, you're gonna lay down, knees bent. Place the band above your knees. Before you lift your hips off the ground, you're gonna ground your feet. You're gonna find your tripod. So your heel, your base of your pinky toe, and the base of your big toe are gonna be grounded onto the ground. Don't just set it and forget it. We're going to actively press through those points on your foot. As you push your knees out against the band, imagine you're also gently trying to unscrew your feet, externally rotating them without moving them. So essentially, you are trying to pull that arch of your foot off of the floor while you rotate your tibia out. This cue fires the glutes and it stabilizes the tibia. Now, you're gonna drive through your tripod and you're gonna lift your hips, squeezing your glutes.
You just keep going. Keep that
with control.
your foot tripod active.
Maintaining the band tension,
driving
your knees out and your tibia out and keeping that arch off the floor, maintaining the band tension and the foot pressure. And then you're gonna do a few reps there. So do you feel that? You're not just working your glutes.
Done.
You're teaching your hip and your foot to work together to create a stable environment for your knee. So let's reframe. The knee is the site of convergence, not the cause. The foot is a powerful influencer, having a strong influence on how the tibia will move in relationship to kinetic chain movement. The hip is the master stabilizer, controlling femoral rotation, so your thigh bone. But the real problem is the loss of coordination between your foot and your hip, and your knee getting kind of lost in translation. So we've connected the foot and the hip. In the next video, we're going to master the source of power and control the hip itself. We'll dive into advanced drills to cement your role as the master of your own kinetic chain. If this deeper dive into the knee's true nature was helpful, please give it a like. It truly supports the channel and lets these videos go out to more people who could be helped by this information. Now, I'm curious, did this change how you see your knee pain? Let me know in the comments. Tell me about your knee pain, tell me about what has worked and what hasn't, and tell me, what you'd like to see more of. Now subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our deep dive into the hips. Let's continue building a body that moves optimally from the ground up.